So those are two separate questions that actually have very little to do with each other.
Okay.
24-hour news channels are meant to give you news immediately, as opposed to the old school, that our parents grew up on, or that, where the news would come on at 9 p.m. every night for half an hour.
Okay.
And then you were done. So you would get your newspaper in the morning and you would get the news at 9 p.m. at night, and then nothing in between. Then came 24-hour news channels, and the idea is to be able to give you news immediately. We've moved from there to now a world where you get all of your news on your phone. You don't need the newspaper, you don't need your television. So I think it has absolutely nothing to do with sensationalism at all. Whether someone is sensational or not is a style of that particular channel. Do we need 24/7 news channels to coexist with the internet is the question we should be asking right now, because that's the question of the future. And I think on some level it's a question that will answer itself in the next couple of years, where the two do battle, and you figure out where the internet right now has great reach. You put a story out on the internet, that almost everybody in this country has a cell phone in their hands. A large number of those cell phones are smartphones and not feature phones. So your story can reach people. But what television still has is influence and clout and the ability to make a story important. So I could put, you and I could record something and put it on the internet, but will it be important enough to influence decision makers, lawmakers, change? Perhaps not yet. Perhaps that will still come from television. So at some point, the coexistence between 24/7 television and the internet, that's the question we should be asking. I disagree with you. I think that it should be political, because college is a place where young people decide what their political convictions are going to be. This is the place where you learn to debate. This is a place where you are suddenly, for the first time in your life, mixed with people who come from other parts of the country, people who come from different families, people who come from different backgrounds. And you're supposed to coexist, you're supposed to debate, you're supposed to find a way to debate healthily, you're supposed to find out what your political convictions are. College is supposed to be that place. You cannot remove political convictions from college. It has to be a place where you fight the system. It has to be a place where you challenge whatever is being told to you. That's what college students are supposed to do, in my opinion at least. Yes, do it in a non-violent, do it in a democratic, do it in a lawful way. But question and protest, yes. In fact, college students are the only ones with the time to do this sort of thing. So I think that what's happening right now, if there are college students who feel like we should not ask questions, we should not challenge, we should not be seen as being political, that would be wrong in my opinion. You should, this is the time where you're supposed to question everything. And then see by the time you graduate from college, you should know what you stand for. And you won't be able to do that if you don't question in these 3 or 4 years that you're in. I still do what I do because I believe that journalism helps. You're able to tell stories, you're able to raise issues and bring about change, which is why I do it. And I agree about the fact that every industry has its set of bad eggs. Maybe we have a few more bad eggs than we would like to have. Maybe there should be more accountability. But I think that because now the audience, again with the internet, the audience is so much more vocal. There used to be a time, for example, where for newspapers, your only option was to write letters to the editor. And the editor would decide whether or not to print those letters. So it was kind of lopsided. With television also, your only option was perhaps to call the newsroom. Now you have the internet. Now people are voicing their opinions far more. I believe that a smarter, shrewder audience who is less willing to be taken for a ride is the justice for bad journalists. Because right now you have the internet and in your hand you can verify a story yourself. You're not gullible, and you can make up your mind. And I think over a period of time, when the reader/viewer becomes stronger and stronger, bad journalism will become weaker and less influential. Eventually, or to some level, be contained. I don't think you can ever. It's like the corruption conversation.
Yeah.
You can't fully remove it from the system. The idea is to contain it to a smaller percentage where it's not doing as much damage. I think a smarter viewer and reader, or a more empowered viewer and reader, will eventually be able to stop the growth of bad journalism. How would I verify news, which is also part of my job? There are some big newspapers, right? So if I were to ask you to name the big national newspapers, there's the Indian Express, there's the Hindustan Times, there's the Times of India, there's the Hindu, right? If I find that a story is being carried by two or more of these, I am inclined to believe that, I mean, you can tell, right? So if you're talking about fake news, a lot of times what happens is the websites that are carrying fake news are fairly dodgy.
Okay.
You can go to that. One of the easiest ways to tell is spelling mistakes and typos. If you find a website where there are a lot of errors in the text, you know that there is a problem. If you find a website where you see that the manner in which the article is written is not journalistic, it's not formal, the language, journalism sounds a certain way, right? It doesn't sound like that. If you look through the website and you'll see that all of the articles are of a certain way, they're either picking on one side or they're picking up the other side, then you can tell. I'd like to rely on the 4 or 5 big national newspapers. I mean, we have a couple in-house within the Economic Times and the Times of India. I find them, that's where I go to. But all of the big 5 national newspapers is a good place to verify a story and to see. And also embellishment, for example. If you go to these papers, they will have put out the 4 or 5 facts that they have managed to verify. So any article that goes further and the facts become slightly ludicrous, you know that they are sort of embellishing the truth. So even if I'm accessing it on the internet, I go back to what the newspapers are doing on the internet. See, unfortunately, this is a tough question to answer. See, again, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to say there isn't polarization of media. I'm not going to say that there aren't journalists who are picking sides. I can't speak for the media.
Okay.
I don't run it yet. But I can speak for the organization, the channel that I am part of, at least. Within our organization, it's left up to the editor.
Okay.
So I have honestly never received a phone call saying, don't do this, don't do that. So we actually just choose based on what we think impacts most Indians on that particular day. If I believe that someone in Bangalore who fell in a pothole and died is the most important story of the day, and my team agrees with me, that's the story we will do.
Okay.
We quite frankly don't care which government it is.
Is there an ideological basis to every news channel?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
At least there isn't in mine. I mean, I was a business journalist, so I look at everything from a sort of a money consumer, I paid for this, what did I get in returns point of view. There isn't an ideological. And interestingly, we have people in my team that believe very, very different things. And we've put together a team that is representative of as much as we can. So we have 2 South Indians, we have 1 person from Chandigarh, we have 1 gay person on the team, we have 1 hardline conservative on the team, and we argue each other out. So, I mean, if I say this, that person will say, no, I disagree with you, and we try and see how non-opinionated we can make it, how pro-citizen we can make it. So that's how we work it out. Like I said, I can't speak for the rest of the channels. We're only now 8 months old. So this is how we've done it so far. So we'd like to continue doing it this way for as long as we can. I mean, the best part, I mean, there used to be this joke when I joined journalism that journalism was this dump yard for liberal, art students, people who studied like philosophy, political science. What do you become after you study philosophy? So these people would wind up in journalism because there is nowhere else for them to be. So that's no longer true. Now people do journalism courses, but anybody can become a journalist. And I've realized over the years that where you've lived, which part of the country you come from, all of your experiences in school and college, everything you have learnt, formally and informally, makes you a better journalist. Because where are you from?
I live in Mumbai.
You grew up in Mumbai?
All my life.
Yeah, so you will have specific insights on what Mumbai is like. We have people in our team who've grown up in the Northeast. And so when, they have specific insights into what the Northeast is like. I've spent most of my time in personal finance, and it, makes me better with things like tax and Aadhaar and, personal laws and consumer affairs. So, and I mean, my dad was a coffee planter. I was surrounded by farmers. So it makes me empathetic to the farmer's plight. So someone who is a Fauji kid will be more empathetic to the Jawan and the army side of things. So you don't have to have a specific education to become a journalist. You have to be aware of what the ethics and the rules are of the game, which you learn in the first 1 year or the first 2 years. And you just need to want to bring about a greater good. All of them. So I have a stack that comes home. I get the Economic Times, the Times of India, the Hindustan Times, the Indian Express, the New Indian Express, the Midday, the Mirror, and I missed one, and the DNA. See, I find the Times of India, and that's not because I'm in the organization, I find the Times of India covers everything.
Okay.
So it's the first paper I read because almost all of the stories that I need to know are in the Times of India. And then I turn to the Indian Express because the Indian Express does stories that nobody else is doing.
Okay.
So stuff that I will not find in any of the other papers, I'll find in the Indian Express. So these are my favorites. So there are days when I might not have the time to read all, but I will definitely read these two.
Okay.